Let's talk about why magnesium might not be working for you. So many people take magnesium, but they actually are not even feeling the effects of that magnesium. They still deal with insomnia, they still deal with fatigue, high blood pressure, heart palpitations, leg cramps, anxiety. Today we're going to talk about 8 magnesium mistakes that are super important that don't necessarily directly involve magnesium, but they involve things around magnesium. It's the system around it. Because if you don't really understand this, you could be taking it for years and not see the results. Magnesium is, hands down, one of the most important minerals for the entire body. It's involved in over 300 different biochemical reactions. It helps you control heart rhythm, blood pressure, sleep, energy, insulin that helps you control blood sugar. Magnesium is vital for nerve function, mitochondria, especially in the making of ATP. So let's start where the mistakes begin. Okay, number 1, thinking magnesium works by itself. And all you need to do is just take magnesium and it'll work. Not true. The most important helper cofactor is vitamin D. And also, on the flip side, in order for vitamin D to work, you also need magnesium. They both are dependent on each other. And I'm not talking about just the regular amount of vitamin D that people recommend, like 600 IUs. You need at least 4,000, 5,000, 10,000 IUs of vitamin D3 to have sufficient amounts for magnesium to work. And that brings us to another point. So many people are deficient in vitamin D. They don't even know it. And that could be the reason why they're expressing magnesium deficiency symptoms. Not only because they're missing magnesium, but they're also missing vitamin D3. But it doesn't just stop there. Vitamin B6 is also necessary for magnesium to get into your cells. You also need another mineral called potassium for magnesium to work. And out of all the minerals that you need large amounts of potassium, like 4,700 milligrams per day. Rarely does anyone get that much. So a lot of people are deficient in potassium as well. Now, another mineral that's needed for magnesium is sodium. A lot of people get enough sodium, but when you go on a low-carb diet, you lose a lot of fluid. And with that, you lose a lot of sodium. So some people have symptoms of weakness in the muscle when they start a low-carb diet because they need more sea salt. But just realize you need salt to also make magnesium work. Let's go to number 2, ignoring cell membrane damage. Remember I said that most of the magnesium is inside your cell? Well, in order to get inside the cell, it has to get through this membrane right here. And a lot of people have damage in the membrane. And so then the question is, what damages the membrane? The big one is seed oils. An average person consumes between 20 and 25% of all their calories from seed oils, corn oil, soy oil, canola, cottonseed, concentrated fats that ancient man never consumed in abundance, and they're highly processed, which means they create inflammation. But they have the ability to embed in your membranes. They also mess with the receptors for insulin, creating more pre-diabetic situations. And so they really overload the cell with something called omega-6, which is more inflammatory. In order for that magnesium to get in the cell, you need good membranes. And this is why when someone stops consuming seed oil, it doesn't just solve the problem overnight. It takes literally like 600 days for all of that to be cleared out so those membranes can start working again. And I think also one symptom of a problem with the cell membranes is your arteries are rigid and you have high blood pressure. That's a clarifying symptom that you might have problems with the membranes because the inside of the body is very, very brittle and stiff. Number 3, understanding stress and what it does to magnesium. Stress is like causing a body reaction, okay? It's more of a body reaction than an emotion. It's shutting down your digestion. It's lowering your immune system. It's decreasing blood flow to certain organs, especially the stomach. This is why ulcers can be triggered by stress. That then increases the demand for magnesium and the loss of magnesium at the same time, creating a magnesium deficiency. You're just going to need more magnesium. Also, when you consume more caffeine, you lose magnesium. And so if you're stressed, anxious, overworked, wired, you're going to need magnesium. Next one is taking the wrong type of magnesium. The most common magnesium that people take when they go to the drugstore and buy it is magnesium oxide. It's the worst. You only absorb 3% of it. A much better form of magnesium is magnesium glycinate. This is magnesium attached to glycine, which is an amino acid that will increase GABA in your brain to help you sleep and be calmer. And you absorb like 80% of that. There are other forms of magnesium that are good. I did a whole video on that. I will put a link down below if you want to learn more about that. But the magnesium that I take is magnesium glycinate. Number 5 is you are blocking the absorption of magnesium without even knowing it. Some common blockers: taking too much calcium. If you take a look at the average multi, one a day, the first ingredient is calcium carbonate, the worst form of calcium. It's like limestone. It's like eating a rock. In a lot of those supplements, they don't even have magnesium, but too much calcium will inhibit the absorption of magnesium. If you take high doses of zinc long term, that can inhibit magnesium. Fluoride from the water and fluoride treatments can also block your magnesium. Aluminum can block magnesium, and also antacids and acid blockers can block magnesium. Low stomach acid, a lot of people have that. You need this strong acidic stomach to absorb minerals, especially magnesium, and that could be the reason why you're low on magnesium, because you don't have enough acid in the stomach, in which case you should take something called betaine hydrochloride. Number 6 is thinking that the RDAs for magnesium are going to be therapeutic. When they came up with these RDAs, it was just basically levels to prevent a disease. And by the way, they were designed 100 years ago, and they haven't been updated. These RDAs were not designed to create a therapeutic effect. So one of the biggest problems in the area of nutrition is, how much do you need? What about if you're trying to correct a major deficiency? You need larger amounts, a therapeutic dosage. I mean, especially when you're talking about vitamin D3, you probably need 20, 30, 40,000 IUs of vitamin D3. But the RDAs for magnesium are roughly between 400 to 460. But those are not therapeutic healing dosages. 400 milligrams is just enough to kind of get you by, to prevent a major problem. But they're not designed to fulfill all of your machinery for energy, your sleep quality, to overcome insulin resistance, to actually try to correct arrhythmias, atrial fibrillation. If someone has a major problem like a Charlie horse and they take 400 milligrams, they might not see much change unless they go up to 800, 1200, or even sometimes 1600 milligrams per day. And just as a side note, if you're taking larger amounts, don't ever take all of that at one time, because your body only can absorb a certain amount at a time. Break it down into smaller amounts and spread it through the day, between 300 or 400 milligrams at a time, and then just spread it out. That way you can actually start increasing more amounts if you're trying to create a therapeutic effect, especially if you're under stress or you have some type of illness, some type of chronic problem. Number 7, having unrealistic expectations. And I kind of just touched on that. But sometimes people have this idea that all I have to do is just take a little bit of magnesium and all my symptoms will go away right away, instantly, because it works like a drug. No, it does not work like a drug. Vitamins and minerals are helper things in biochemistry. And if the biochemistry is broken, it takes a while to get that to work again. You can't create a drug effect with vitamins or minerals. And also, it's not just about feeling like getting more energy or an instant relaxation of a muscle, because there's a lot of other things related to magnesium that you can't really feel, like rebuilding tissue or repairing or healing something. It's a very slow, gradual thing that you're not going to even perceive for weeks. Like refilling your intracellular storage of magnesium to help balance out calcium to help saturate certain receptors that help reduce your stress level. And magnesium is also involved in a lot of reparative actions as well. I know with me personally, I had a major magnesium deficiency, and I had these cramps that would wake me right out of bed, and they would literally just in the early morning just start cramping up, and my toes would come down like this. And I took magnesium, but it didn't really work right away. So it took some weeks before it got better. And as a side note, a lot of people ask me what supplements I recommend. I have a line of high quality supplements. If you want more information about that, you can go to Amazon.com and search Dr. Berg supplements. Number 8, the missing insulin connection. It's where you consume a lot of carbohydrates, or you eat frequent meals, or you snack, and then all of a sudden insulin doesn't work anymore. And what's happening in the cells is you're developing insulin resistance. That alone will block the absorption of magnesium. And also, if you have a magnesium deficiency, you're more likely to develop insulin resistance in the first place. So it goes hand in hand. And this is why a pre-diabetic, a diabetic, someone with insulin resistance should not just take a regular amount of magnesium, they should take more than usual. And on the flip side, when they're on low carb, they lose a lot of fluid, they lose more electrolytes sometimes, so they need to take magnesium, sodium, and potassium to kind of keep up their electrolytes for a different reason. Now, I only touched on 2 forms of magnesium. I think it's a very important topic. I created a video that covers all of the different types of magnesium. I made it really simple. It's not a long video. You should watch it. I put it up right here. Check it out.